you should write this down every day. This year's either going to be better for me or it's going to be worse for me. What I do today will determine whether it's going to be better or whether it's going to be worse. Okay, you guys want it to be better or worse? First, get rid of the little think and the old ideas and the middle class mentality. I'm going to go to work.
In that moment, all you're trying to do is process what's around you, and your brain does not have the opportunity to explore and be afraid at the same time. And when you understand that, when you understand that the ally that you have is movement, the ally that you have is momentum, the thing that you don't need to be afraid of is fear, because that will be quelled by doing something.
You got to get up. You got to have faith that the one thing you wanted to happen oftentimes is the best thing that never happened. So have faith. Just keep that in mind. Keep plugging away.
Write down what you need to do in order to make a better life for yourself. And be brave enough to do those things. I dare you to take a stand today to say no more. I will no longer accept this for my life. I dare you to take action today.
You have to decide that you are going to be in control, that you are going to do what you want to do. Weakness doesn't get a vote. Laziness doesn't get a vote. Everyone wants some life hack that eliminates the need to do the work, but that does not exist. No, you have to do the work.
There's only one thing you cannot purchase. There's only one thing you cannot buy, and that's what real peace do. That's something you're going to have to do.
You got to put more energy, and you got to put more effort in your stuff than anybody. So you getting up at 4 and it ain't working. Get up at 3:30. So you read the book once and then you didn't get it. Read it twice. Read it 3 times.
If a person leaves at 6, you leave at 8. If a person makes 100 calls a day, you make 200 calls a day. If somebody practices 3 hours, you practice 5 hours.
As you focus on that which you want to do, that which we focus on, that which we give our energy to, it will begin to multiply. It will begin to expand. It will begin to develop your consciousness. And out of that comes your greatness. Out of that comes a commitment. Out of that comes a passion for life. Out of that comes a special power that you have in you.
What happens is, literally in life, this is what stops most people from being successful. One of the things is that they would rather be comfortable than do what's required. Anytime you do something different, it's uncomfortable by its very nature. Now, most of you remember learning to drive a car. You were probably awkward. You know, you forgot to hit the clutch when you hit the brake. But after a couple months, you're there driving with your knee. You got a Big Mac in your left hand. You're breaking up a fight in the back seat with the kids with your right hand. No big deal. But you have to be willing to go through that awkward, uncomfortable stage. And most people, unfortunately, won't do that. And so they get locked in what we call their comfort zone. So what I want you to do is to realize that life is an experiment. You have lots of responses that are possible. And I'm going to teach you some of those new ones, perhaps, that you can apply to your success. So there's 3 kinds of responses. Number 1 is your behavior, what you do and say out loud. Number 2 is your thoughts. Number 3 is the images you hold in your head. Those are the only 3 things you have any control over in your life. What you say and do, the thoughts you think, and the imageries that you hold inside your head. So what happens here is when you say I can't, when you lie, when you focus on your failures instead of your successes, and when you surround yourself with people who are judgmental rather than encouraging and empowering, it actually has a physical effect on you. So that's how powerful thoughts are. We see that our thoughts affect us and other people's thoughts affect us. So we have to be very careful where we place ourselves and who we hang out with and who we surround ourselves with. So partly here, we've just done this thing. This is called a kinesiology demonstration. Kinesiology is a fancy term for muscle testing, all right? And one of the principles here is you have to eliminate the phrase I can't from your vocabulary. I can't, I wish I were able to, I'll try. Those are all ways of saying I'm not capable. And they're very insidious, and it's part of our culture. I actually teach people to wear a rubber band, and if they say something negative about themselves, they just snap themselves when they're aware of it. Not like to really hurt yourself, but just to raise your awareness. In my company, if anyone says I can't or we're not able to, we can't get that done by Friday, you know, they'd say something like, well, we'd need 8 people to do that. Well, great, call a temporary agency. It can be done by Friday. And if they'd say something negative, it cost them $1. We'd fine them. We put it in a jar, and at the end of the month, we give it to charity. Well, we stopped doing that after a couple of years because no one was doing it anymore, because the culture shifted because of that focus. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right. Why is that? Because if you think you can, you will try. And if you try, you're probably going to pull it off. And if you think you can't, you won't. And if you don't try, then you're not going to get it done at all. Make sense? Okay.
The 5 abilities. First, develop the ability to absorb. Part of the challenge here is, try to get it all, and taking notes and thinking about the notes you're taking. I know it's almost overload. I understand that, but the first key is to get it. I teach the kids in school. I mentioned in one of these other seminars, nothing worse than being stupid. So you got to gather up all the ideas you possibly can. You can sort through them later, discard what you're not going to use, refine, do whatever you want. But the first key is to get it, right? Nothing worse than being stupid. Being broke is bad, but being stupid is really bad. So here's the key. To get it in whatever form you can. We get it by video. We get it by sermon. We get it by lyrics from the songs, the dialogue in the movie. We get it from personal conversation. We get it from classes. We get it from seminars. Every possible way. The key is to get it, to absorb, to take in. Here's what else, not just ideas, but life itself. Your mind needs to be like a perpetual recorder, recording your life experiences. So don't be lazy now in acquiring life experience, translated to consciousness, translated to ideas, put in your journal, put in your heart, put in your soul. Getting it is vitally important.
I believe that the price for a full life is mistakes. Mistakes are the price for a full life that you have to pay if you learn from them. I believe that hell wants to maim you and mock you with your mistakes. But heaven wants to make you and transform you by your mistakes. Failure should not become a prison house where you're held hostage the rest of your life by your mistakes.
Realize failure is not final. Failure is not final. We live in a culture that says, if at first you don't succeed, give up. No. One reason most of us don't venture out and start pursuing our God-given dreams in life, we are paralyzed by the fear of failure. We think, what if I apply for this job and I don't get it? What if I ask that person out on a date and they don't say yes? What if I, do this and it doesn't work? They're paralyzed by failure. Remember this, nobody stubbed his toes standing still. If you're moving forward, you are going to stub your toe from time to time, but you're also going to move forward. I think of Thomas J. Watson, the founder of IBM. He said, the way to succeed is to double your failure rate. What do you mean by that? Double your failure rate. He was saying the more times you try something, the more ventures you pursue, yes, the more times you're going to fail, but you're also going to succeed more as well. You have to fail if you're going to succeed. George Bernard Shaw, great novelist, had his first 5 novels rejected. Babe Ruth struck out 1,330 times, but he's considered one of America's greatest baseball players. Thomas Edison discovered 1,800 ways not to make a light bulb. But all of those men were tremendous successes. Guess what? The more resumes you send out, the more rejections you'll get, but the more likely you'll get a bite on it. The more doors you knock on, the more people you share your faith with, the more rejections you're going to have, not of you, but of Christ, but the more opportunities to lead people to Christ. That's why it is important that we understand that failure is not final. Dennis Waitley in his book, Seeds of Greatness, says, winners work at doing things the majority of the population are not willing to do.